Powerback time on the Gutsy podcast. Each week we bring you 5 minutes of condensed inspiration to reclaim the courage and momentum you've given away. You've got big things to do, so let's get your power back. We often put off having challenging conversations because, well, they're uncomfortable. I can't really think of a single person that I've come in contact with that is like, oh great, something is going wrong, or I'm upset about something, I can't wait to tell this person. It's often believed that it's easier if we just don't talk to them. I'll just deal with it. Maybe it's me. Maybe if I just don't bring it up, then it'll just magically go away. But inevitably, it ends up running in the back of our minds. It builds up stress and anxiety. And it adds fuel to a potentially smoldering fire. Think about, okay, something has gone wrong and you're upset and you let it slide. And then something else happens. And then something else happens. And this could be over the course of a couple of days or a couple of years. But when that initial issue has not been resolved or at least communicated about, your tolerance for that person starts to decrease. And when something else pops up, you're quicker to judge and react. Let's take your spouse, for instance. He or she has left the socks on the stairs again. You asked them to do a chore and they didn't do it. They were supposed to run and get something for you and they didn't go get it. And you didn't deal with these. You just bottled them up, right? You're essentially just bottling up emotions because you don't want to deal with it. And I hear this all the time. It's just easier if I do it myself. Why even waste the breath? Well, what happens is over time, that pressure starts to build. It's like a slow cooker, right? It's a slow boil over a long period of time. But eventually that slow cooker boils. So that husband or wife may do something at one point and it's going to be the stupidest thing. Like they put the mug in the cabinet right side up versus upside down. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to freaking snap. And all of those circumstances and all those occasions where you did not address the issue before is going to come out through rage, through anger, through resentment. What started off as an annoyance a few months ago now is a full-blown argument, which causes a whole lot more trauma in your relationship. This week, I want you to take your power back by just having the difficult conversation. I often say that people don't know what they don't know. It might be irritating the shit out of you that that cup is in the cabinet the wrong way. But if your spouse or partner doesn't know that it's quote unquote the wrong way, it's going to bother you way more than it is them because they don't even know that it's an issue. If you're at work and one of your fellow coworkers that you work alongside with on a regular basis keeps dropping the ball on something and puts that pressure on you, sit down and have a conversation with them. Let them know how it's affecting the job, how it's affecting both of your productivity. And maybe even ask, how can I help you? Is there something that I can do to help this process as well? If your best friend keeps making plans with you and then pulling it out at the 11th hour, and you're like, this is really bothering me, but it's just easier for me to not say anything. That's just how she is. But it's really bothering you. Sit down. The next time you guys actually get together, be like, hey, just a heads up. This is how I'm feeling. We underestimate our own feelings and pull them down and bottle them up, a lot of times to protect the other person and to honestly just not have to deal with it. In the long run, though, what we end up doing is creating way bigger situations about really small things that could have been addressed. Somewhere along the way, the power of emotions got demoted. And I don't know who had that gavel and made that decision, but I'm here to infuse it back into your life because emotions and communication are at the root of all humanity. If you're upset, talk about it. If there's a problem, face it. If you're happy, celebrate it. If it's frustration or anger, give yourself a few minutes to cool down. The last thing that you want to do is react in the moment. But once you've been able to gather yourself, get your composure, write down the facts, and really process things, then sit down and have a conversation now. Not 2 weeks from now, not a month from now, not a year from now. You owe it to yourself and the other person to sit down and say, hey, this is what's going on. It says that you protect your own energy and that you value the relationship enough to sit down and talk. People just don't talk enough anymore. I'm here to encourage you today to open up that conversation. Have that talk. Sit across from the table or across a cup of coffee. Not only is it going to give you an opportunity to clear the air, but it's also going to give you an opportunity to maintain that relationship. Join me next week on the Gutsy Podcast with our special guest, Lauren Chiarello. She is talking all about squeezing the juice out of life. We are faced with challenges and adversities every single day, but Lauren guides us through her amazing journey and how you too can gain the most out of every aspect of your life. Until then, follow the Gutsy Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and for more Gutsy insight, follow me personally at @ThatLauraOra. See you next time.